Hey folks, let's talk about something incredibly serious today. Imagine being a teenager. Your biggest worry should be school exams or what game to play next, right? But in Nigeria, that's not the reality for some kids. Dozens of young boys, aged between 14 and 18, were recently brought before a court after being detained for their alleged involvement in anti-government protests. These kids, some looking malnourished and frail after 2 months in custody, are at the center of an outrage sparking international attention. The protests in Nigeria erupted back in August, fueled by soaring inflation and food prices. People hit the streets chanting, "We are hungry and end bad governance." The situation escalated quickly, with clashes between demonstrators and security forces. The police reported 7 deaths, but rights groups claim the toll is much higher, around 23. Now here's where it gets even more concerning. During these court proceedings, 4 young suspects collapsed, highlighting the dire conditions they've endured while detained. Human rights activists and organizations like Amnesty International have condemned these actions, calling it a blatant attempt to suppress freedom of assembly. One group, Enough is Enough, labeled these detentions as institutional child abuse, demanding the immediate release of these teenagers. They argue these kids belong in school, not in prison cells. Let's put this into perspective. Besides the shocking human rights violations, Nigeria is grappling with an economic crisis. The inflation rate is over 30% and food prices have skyrocketed, pushing many into poverty. This economic hardship is the fuel behind the widespread public anger and frustration. Interestingly, during these protests, some demonstrators were seen waving Russian flags, invoking President Vladimir Putin for support. This raised eyebrows and questions about external influences behind the unrest. The Nigerian government responded with severe charges, including treason against many of those arrested, even teenagers. But here's the kicker. Nigeria is seeking to join the Human Rights Council, yet incidents like these suggest a glaring misunderstanding of what human rights really mean. The international community is watching closely, urging Nigeria to respect human rights and ensure a transparent legal process for these young detainees. The court has granted bail, but it's set at a staggering 10 million naira, which is around $6,000, an amount that's out of reach for many. As these legal proceedings continue, the focus remains on the well-being of these teenagers and the broader implications for human rights and freedom of assembly in Nigeria. This is more than just a news story, it's a reminder of the challenges faced by a nation in turmoil. So what can you do? Stay informed, share this video, and if you want to stay updated on global issues like this, subscribe to Asha Global Pace. We need to shine a light on these injustices and call for change. Thanks for watching and take care.